To really understand the selling partner opportunity, I think it makes sense to just spend a moment and understand marketplace momentum so that you know where to lean in. And this momentum, Vince mentioned earlier, the opportunity is probably well north of $45 billion, right? And so what we see is customers rapidly shifting to this idea of modern procurement. They want that experience where they can spend with more agility, where they can govern with more agility. They want that phone experience where they can select from thousands upon thousands of applications, and they can make those transactions friction-free. The other thing that has happened, and I think Vince mentioned this with the Mac conversation, is that the hyperscalers have done a really nice job of already starting to train customers on using their cloud customer commits to buy applications when they go through Marketplace. The other side of this Marketplace persona, which is the ISVs, I think one of the most important things to understand about why are ISVs adopting so quickly, beyond the fact that their customers are pulling them, is that when an ISV moves from an off-marketplace to an on-marketplace transaction model, they see anywhere from a 20 to 40% reduction in their cost of goods sold. So that's probably reason enough for all the ISVs to make this shift, right? That's a huge amount of cost they drive up and margin that they drive back into their business when they make this shift. The other thing they see is kind of the same thing customers see, is faster deals, less friction. They also see the ability to expand their reach. If you're an ISV anywhere on the planet and you publish an application to our marketplace, you can now sell in 144 countries across the globe, right? So if you're thinking about if you're running software, how do you expand to a larger market? Marketplace is this ideal path for you. And then finally, ISVs see Marketplace as an opportunity to tap into ecosystems. And we talk a lot about our ecosystem at Microsoft. 1 billion customers every day that log in and use some type of Microsoft product. 2, the 15,000 plus field sellers that you can tap into. But the other thing ISVs are incredibly interested in is the 400,000 partners that sit in our ecosystem, right? So Marketplace gives the ISVs this ability to tap into all of that. But what about the non-ISVs, right? The other partners in our large ecosystem. What's the opportunity for them? Well, we see an incredible opportunity because the analysts are already telling us, and we see it in our numbers, and the other hyperscalers see it as well, and they publish on this. Over a third of these transactions are coming through some type of a channel model, right? In the Microsoft world, it's everybody from the niche and boutique players to the distributors, to the LSPs, to the MSPs, to the VARs, to the telcos, and SIs of all types of different flavors. There's an opportunity for all of those types of partners in the Microsoft commercial marketplace story. And if you ask, why would a partner start to kind of make this move, or a selling partner, right? A non-ISV, why do they start to make this particular move? Well, there's a number of reasons. One, I think Greg mentioned the idea of expanding your line card. That's absolutely right. Overnight, you instantly get access to thousands upon thousands of new applications and solutions that you can go sell and start to build your services, managed services, support contracts around, right? So you instantly expand the stuff that you can go sell to customers and the problems you can solve. The second reason is that you can tie in to this whole concept that the ISVs and the customers are enjoying around faster deals, less friction, getting through procurement at a much faster pace, right? So huge opportunity there. If you are a partner in our ecosystem who has never sold software, and we see this a lot with our SIs that drive most of our business, right? Most SIs have traditionally not sold software, but they have great relationships with ISVs. They do design, they do implement, they do support. But the one thing they've never done is they've never transacted. And that's always a sticking point between systems integrators and ISVs. Hey, you do all this work for me, but you don't actually take it to the end, the last mile, right? I've got to bring somebody else in to make the transaction. With Marketplace, the barrier to entry to start transacting is much lower. I can tell you as an SI, if you want to start selling software without Marketplace, there's a ton of infrastructure that you have to build to make that work. You have to retrain people. You have to explain what accounts receivables are. You have to explain how renewals work, all of those types of things. In Marketplace, that effort's dramatically reduced. So Marketplace gives those partners who've never sold software this ability to get into the software sales game, which then builds those relationships with those ISVs, right? So it changes the game there. When you're building software, you're selling software, one thing you get is account control. So think about the number of partners that go into a customer and they build a highly complex solution, right? They've got maybe some Azure infrastructure, some Azure data, maybe some AI, some Copilot now, some M365. Odds are pretty good any solution like that's probably going to need some third-party product as well. Maybe an advanced firewall to sit on top of Windows Azure Firewall, maybe some data tools, maybe some other compliance tools, all those third-party tools. But you've got that partner who's designing that whole solution. They kind of own the customer relationship. They've got the customer trust. But you get to kind of to the end of the game, and what happens? That partner says, well, I really don't transact software. So you're going to have to call somebody to help transact this software. And you're going to call somebody who was on that previous slide, a lot of those names I mentioned. Guess what? Everybody on that slide is building a services business, right? Everyone, the telcos, the disties, they're all getting into this game. Some of the disties are starting to go direct to customer now, right? So if you're an SI and that's your game, you're building these big solutions for customers, why would you purposely start to introduce your competition when you no longer have to, when you can transact through Marketplace and you can own that relationship with the customer, right? So it's a huge opportunity for our non-ISV partners to start to think about how they do more than just kind of stay in the game.